Last time on Bleach, 1000-Year Blood War. After losing everything at Iwatch's hands, BTYBW and Hashwolf vow to take revenge. Until one day, when Hashwolf changes sides and joins Iwatch, betraying BTYBW. The two battle it out in a flaming duel, but Hashwolf is able to beat BTYBW effortlessly. Is this the end of BTYBW, and is Hashwolf unstoppable? Stay tuned to find out. Episode 13 begins with a view of Iwatch sleeping in his throne, while Yukitake continues to give away his life force. While he is lost in thought about something, Ishida gets confronted by Hashwolf about what his true intentions were. With Iwatch currently asleep, his powers had swapped with Hashwolf's for the time being, including the ability to see the future. This pressures Ishida into asking him if he saw him turn a traitor in the future. Hashwolf replies he never said anything about any traitors, digging into Ishida by saying only a traitor would want to come clean after realizing they couldn't hide it anymore. Ishida denies it as Hashwolf places his hand on his sword. Meanwhile, Shinji's group reaches the Warwelt. But before they can proceed any further, they are met with Gerard stopping them from going any further. Suddenly Gerard's arm gets wrapped around with an extensible Zanpakuto. It's Renji, back in top shape again somehow. After Ishida had struck him down, Hiyori and the others found him. Despite being pierced straight through the chest, resulting in massive blood loss, every vital had been missed remarkably. Hachai tells them he will survive thanks to that and starts healing him. Shinji tells Renji to take care of Gerard for them and tries to go around him, but finds his way blocked by Gerard's cape that he expands like a wall. Gerard then makes the bold announcement that beating him one-on-one was impossible for them and actually challenges every one of them to face him simultaneously. Simultaneously, Nok Lavar starts telling about the Royal Quincy Guards. Baro Lil, the first person to receive a shrift from Iwatch, was the leader of the Royal Guards. While every guard got their power from Iwatch, two members, Pernida and Gerard, actually had their powers already. The Quincy King had assigned them a shrift according to the power they already possessed. This led to speculations regarding who they really were, with Pernida being the left hand of the Soul King while Gerard was his heart. Nok Lavar is about to explain why they are related to the Soul King, but stops when he notices Ichigo was no longer able to hear him. Chad and Oraheim arrive, and Chad attacks Nok Lavar, suddenly finding himself in a green, eerie-looking pool and unable to move properly. This was Nok Lavar's attack called Gift Bad, which was based on his ability called Death Dealing, where he lowered his enemy's tolerance of anything he wished to designate, but he had to take that in before dealing it. In this case, it being the Raizhi in the surroundings, making it hard for them to even move an inch, as it was quite dense here in the Warwelt. As he's explaining his ability, Yoruichi pops up behind him. The two exchange some words before Yoruichi transitions into her battle outfit and strikes Nok Lavar back while also catching his arrows midair. Short on time as is, Yoruichi tries settling things right away by unleashing her glorious Raijin Senkai on him. Shinji and the rest of the court guards are able to beat Gerard quite easily. But Gerard isn't bothered by this for some reason and starts saying things like only a miracle would allow him to beat them all now and that strange things can happen. Suspecting a trick up his sleeve, Byakuya hits him with his Senbenzakura, 2 times at that, just to be safe. The whole place then starts trembling, with the tremors even being felt in the real world as well as Hukomondo. Yoruichi frees Ichigo and the others from the paralyzing pool, and tells them she will join them after she's dealt with Nok Lavar. The trio leaves, and Nok Lavar shows up again, asking what her troublesome attack just now was. Yushiru, Yoruichi's younger brother, drops in and tells him it was called Raijin Senkai. Determined to help his elder sister, Yushiru catches Nok Lavar off guard with a barrage of punches. He then sets the entire area ablaze using his Shunko, Bakuin Munso, proving why he was the 23rd head of the Shihoin clan. As Shinji and the others are advancing, a giant foot suddenly appears out of nowhere. It belonged to Gerard, who had become gigantic out of the blue. Announcing his shrift as M, called the Miracle, Gerard's ability was to convert his wounds into enormous size. He thanks the court guards for inflicting so much damage, as he had never grown to such proportions before. He slings a piece of a building at them, with them barely dodging. Shinji calls upon Momo, who sends them into the air, where Shinji releases a Senjiko Denteho at Gerard at point-blank range, followed by Momo's attack. But this does absolutely nothing to the Titan, and even Byakuya's Senbenzakura is useless against him as he takes the mighty Soul Reapers out within seconds without breaking a sweat. Yoruichi praises Yoshiru for improving that much at the Shunko since she taught him. However, this sweet moment doesn't last too long as Nok Lavar is back on his feet again. It was thanks to his power that lets him become immune to anything once he has ingested it. Yushiru charges at him with Shunko again, but it fails to do anything as he has become immune to it. Nock Lavar, however, doesn't miss this opportunity to strike as he impales Yushiru with arrows. Challenging Ishida to a fight to test his loyalty, Hashwolf pushes him through a wall where he stumbles into Ichigo. Before the episode concludes, Isshin is seen asking Ryukin if he was going to where Ishida was. The season finale starts off with the two former friends facing off yet again. Following right behind Ichigo are Chad and Oraheim. It seems for a moment that the old gang was back together again. However, that was far from being the case. Then comes Hashwolf, with his sword out of its sheath. He calls Ishida lucky since he had just been granted a golden chance to prove his loyalty. To prove he was not a traitor, Hashwolf orders Ishida to kill all three of his former friends right here, and now, Ichigo notices that Hashwolf had the same eyes as Yhwach when suddenly Ishida fires an arrow at him. Ichigo tries getting an answer out of him about why he was doing all this, but to no avail as Ishida quietly loads another arrow. Through a flashback, where Ishida was reading the diary his grandfather had left him, Ishida came to find out the true monstrous nature of Yhwach. He was nothing but a tyrant dictator who used the Oswalin to heal his wounds from the war 1,000 years ago. He took the powers and lives of countless Quincy's, including Ichigo and Ishida's mothers, only to increase his own power. His grandfather had predicted that Yhwach would not stay still forever, and would surely return to take his revenge on the world that had forsaken the Quincy's. Being a part of it now, it was the responsibility of Quincy's like Ishida to stop him from taking away everything from them again. It was precisely for this reason that Ishida had approached Yhwach and gone against his own friends, so he could draw attention away from himself and get close to him. Right now, however, he was deep within his own mess as faces Ichigo in an intense showdown. Meanwhile, the forsaken Quincy warriors who had sworn to take revenge against Yhwach finally reached the room where he currently slumbered. Taking advantage of him being asleep, they waste no time and jump him all at once. Using his incredible speed, Yoruichi takes her critically injured little brother and hides behind a broken wall to tend to him. But Nock Lavar finds them right away, as he holds another one of poison bombs ready to be used anytime. Yoruichi tries attacking him with her spiritual pressure, but he's able to evade it easily, as he was immune. She knew this would happen and took advantage of him letting his guard down to demonstrate her top-tier martial arts as she put him in a leg lock and threw him back like a slingshot. Wreaking havoc in his enormous form, Gerard crushes the building inside of which the injured Momo was taking cover and calls out the 13 court guards for not putting up a fight against him. That's when Rose blasts his face and mocks him for not even being able to take out an injured girl. Thankfully, Captain Shinji is able to get his lieutenant out of there in time as well, saving her life. The former visors assemble once more to give Gerard the miracle that the court guards were unable to. Roruka paces back and forth inside the pocket dimension room, feeling restless for not being able to do anything. Yukio clarifies one more time that he will not be going. Mainly because they were going down and arrived outside Kukaku's residence in the Soul Society. Suddenly, the entire place starts getting rained on by golden cannonballs, which even catch Aizen's attention. These were not cannon ammo, but rather remnants of the persistent Baro, who still lived on and was now creating chaos among the Soul Society. As one of the birds is about to attack a bunch of helpless Soul Reapers, it gets sliced in half and killed by none other than Kiba, who was back in an undead state. Ishida recalls the time back in high school when Ichigo had asked him why he didn't want to become a doctor despite being smart and the son of a doctor too. Ishida had interest in becoming one once, but after witnessing his father dissecting his dead mother, he didn't want to pursue it any longer. In the present, Ichigo is once again questioning Ishida about his decisions, but this time it's not about his career path, but about why he decided to betray everyone and join the Quincy's. Ichigo tells him he was going to fight and knock some sense into him if his reason makes sense to him, although he was still going to do that if it didn't. Ishida then shows Ichigo a sun key, which allowed its user to travel anywhere across the Warwelt through gates called the Gate of the Sun if held against them. Ishida tells Ichigo to take it and go 5 levels down to a gate that connects to the living world and travel back there while he takes care of Yhwach. Ichigo goes up to him and grabs his collar as he yells at him for taking everything upon himself. The two argue, but Ishida remains adamant that this was his mission and tells Ichigo to leave before Hashwolf finds out. Speaking of the devil, Hashwolf shows up right that instant. Ishida tells Ichigo that Yhwach powers were swapped with Hashwolf's for now and sends him after him on the topmost level. reassuring him these were not his last words. Hashwolf doesn't chase after them, though, as he had seen the future where they died. His power, however, was not perfect, unlike Yhwach, as Ishida noticed a discrepancy in it when Hashwolf was surprised seeing Ishida so full of hope. Around the same time, Ryukin and Isshin finally reach the Warwelt as well after Ryukin uses an old passkey of his father's. Ichigo and the rest rush towards the topmost floor of Warwelt, seeking to utilize what could be their last chance at beating Yhwach. But things take a dramatic twist after the Forsaken Quincy's, who had reached him earlier, all get defeated even though Yhwach was supposedly a